So how many years ago have you, or how long have you had your business?
It's been in since 2004.
Okay, so a few years.
Almost 20 years. Yeah. 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 It's crazy to say that.
And what all do you guys do
Anything.
besides seating,
Anything.
like you were doing this morning?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. I mean, a lot of renovation work. So, focus a lot on, I don't like new build. New build these days is a different
Why?
type. It's because a lot of it's prefabbed. So it's made, say in
Somewhere else.
Ohio, shipped in, versus I learned from a guy that handmade everything. Everything's handmade.
Wow.
So that's what I'm
And that's
used
the
to.
way you like to do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a different, the older the house, the more excited I get. Like we bought a house that it was built in 1900, and I would say probably the last work on it might have been like the 70s. Like every single room needs work.
Some love.
Yeah. But that's what I love.
Okay,
That's exciting for me. Because it's a challenge. All our walls, even our interior walls are 16 inches thick brick. It's all brick, the whole thing's, it's a fortress.
Nice.
So you have to figure out how to
I like that, building your own fortress.
It is. We actually had a tornado, I guess about 2 months ago, 2 blocks from us.
Wow.
I've never felt safer than in that house. It was crazy. It's literally,
I want to build a bunker under the
it is a
house.
bunker. It's an above ground bunker. It really is.
I want to build something underneath. And I
Yeah.
was talking to one of my friends, and I was like, how safe is it to just start digging? She's like, yeah, don't.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Not right away. Give it some time. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So you guys, in terms of you're not doing that prefab type new build work.
Yeah. We do a lot of renovation, kitchens, baths, custom builds, furniture. I mean, literally anything you name it. Like you can dig a hole in the ground, I could build a house and do every aspect of the entire thing.
Why did you start doing this?
It kind of fell in my lap, honestly. I was, so I was pre-med in school.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Good. So you know exactly where this is going. Yeah. I was pre-med in school, and then before I went to school, I was working for the contractor that taught me everything. I worked for him for 2.5 years, and everything was handmade. We worked on one house in the entire time I had worked for him, and it was a museum by the time it was done. Every room was different. It was incredible. So that's where I learned from. And then when I was at JMU, I was bartending, and just a regular came in and was like, I need a log cabin built. Can't find anybody I want. And it was out in Nelliesford. So I said, all right, let's do it. And he said, go get a business license. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I dropped out of school and never looked back. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
That's awesome.
4 classes from graduating. Yeah, so close. But
you know what, though? What is that degree going to get you?
I mean, I have friends that are going through it right now, and they're like, I wish I wasn't doing this, but I don't have a choice because of the debt, the time, all that stuff. They're like,
When you're already so committed into something, you're like,
so
let me just
deep
finish
in.
it.
Yeah. So what are you going to do? Yeah. So, yeah, they featured that cabin that I built in a magazine, Virginia Old Homes. And,
Virginia Old Homes? How many years ago was that?
Yeah, pre-social media.
I was going to say 20-something years ago, right?
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah.
So
That's
ever
awesome.
since that, I was like, I could do this.
You're like, obviously it was good enough for publication. I can do this again and again. Was it a profitable? Did you make good money on it for you to be like open up your eyes to a whole new world?
No. And because I was still navigating, I didn't know anything about the world on that side of it. I know how to do it, but I didn't know how to run a business via it.
So the guy you built it for came out well.
He did okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was actually on the James River, and he had a log cabin on 10 acres, and then he bought 10-acre lot right next to it. So I actually lived at his cabin and would walk 2 minutes to when I was building and just work on it. Lived out there for a bit. So, but I didn't have anything. For this whole business, I've never gotten loans or anything. So it was, that profit went into
next
tools,
phase of the business.
into the next phase, yeah.
That's awesome. Gosh, that's so fun to have that type of talent and skill to be able to
It's a dying
carpenter.
thing. Yeah. It's a dying thing, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a lost. That's why I don't like new build, because it's such a you go in, you put it all together, and you move on to the next one, literally
That's
right
how we
next to it, right next to it.
pop up all these different
That's how it
subdivisions.
happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your dream project? If you could create like any dream project.
I don't know. I started out with a pretty dream project. I'll be honest with
Well,
you.
20 years later, what does that look
Yeah.
like? Or is it pretty much what you're doing now?
Kind of what I'm doing now. Moving out to Charlestown, I have my eyes on a whole bunch of properties out there that are, there's so much history there, and the property, the older the house, I don't know, it's a weird thing. The older, the more work it needs, the more excited I get. So, because I could take anything and make anything from it. So I can match all the old trim, and it's new wood, but it all matches the character of the actual house. So I love finding little funky nooks and all that kind of stuff and turning them into our particular house. We have a storage area in our daughter's bedroom that has a window, and they made it storage, but instead I'm going to gut it, reinforce it, and make a little reading nook with a bookcase in there so she can climb up in there and like.
Does your wife get all excited with her Pinterest boards? Is she like,
Yeah.
honey?
Yeah.
That's what I found.
Sometimes I'm not easy to live with, to be honest, because I see big picture.
Yeah.
So I look at it and I go, okay, we're going to do this. And then that's going to create this, which is going to create this. She's more short term. So she's kind of like.
So you start gutting things, and she's like,
Yeah.
the house is like,
Yeah, it's kind of like the house is a mess. What are you doing? You know, and it's like, think long term.
patient with
Think
me,
long
yeah.
term. Yeah. So we have 8 fireplaces in our house, and I tore down the whole upper half of a fireplace, which is, you have to be a little crazy to do what I do. But I tore the whole thing down, kept all the brick, and then I'm going to build the fireplace right back up for the master bedroom. But below it, it goes right through the middle of our kitchen.
Oh, wow.
So the long term on that is to get rid of the lower half, which then opens up the kitchen. So she has to think.
But in the meantime.
Yeah, exactly. She's looking at it and going, I can't take this part of it. But it's, she once it starts to develop and the demo's done and the original brick and there's timbers that are from the original from the house sitting in there, then you can kind of start putting it together. She gets more excited about it. So
Life comes back into the house.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
In terms of marketing, how are you currently getting business, and how have you gotten business over the last 20 years?
Word of mouth. Yeah, I don't advertise. I don't.
Well, how many projects
have
can you handle?
shirts.
Do you have a big team?
No.
Okay.
No, and I don't want a big team, honestly.
So there's only so many projects you can handle, so you're probably like booked.
We're always booked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nonstop. I mean, we're starting to look at spring even at this point. So, yeah, it's business cards and word of mouth. That's it.
What type of things do you guys like build? I know you said,
Anything.
but I mean, like, what are the last like 3 to 4 projects you guys have worked on?
Right now we're doing in the middle of a master bathroom. It was a very standard bathroom with your standard jacuzzi tub that we're taking out and doing a half wet room. So we're building it up on a ledge. It's going to be a soaker tub. You can step up onto the ledge, but everything drains down to the shower area, and the shower area has just a big open glass, and that's it. So you can kind of walk around the glass into the shower or stay by the tub. If there's overflow in the tub, it all kind of drains down to the same
that's awesome.
system. So things like that where we just kind of
Use your imagination.
yeah. And then all of a sudden I found an outlet in the wall, which is not good, but that's not a good thing, So, but then that's what I'd say, that's where my side, I think the strength of what we do changes. To kind of say, okay, we have this outlet. So how can we incorporate this outlet? So we're going to do like an ambiance lighting that goes around the tub that's specific for if you use the tub. You can use that with a chandelier that comes out. It's a whole.
Without getting electrocuted.
Without getting electrocuted,
That's
yes.
the magic
This one was
there.
under the tub, so we're gonna put it above the tub. Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's so cool. Okay, so in terms of like looking out in the next 5, 10, 15 years, how do you imagine your business to look like? How do you imagine the creations, since you guys do build everything from the ground
Very
up?
different than where it is now, to be honest. We do a lot of kind of to build up the business because I could get loans. I just, for some reason, I don't know.
I don't like to owe anybody anything.
And I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I know that when I make money from the business, it's like, no, this is ours. I don't have to worry about, giving it back to somebody else because they, kind of propelled it into. So at the moment, we are working on the house that we got. and we were kind of starting to eye more houses in the area, kind of looking more into the investment side of
like flipping
homing.
stuff.
Yes, flipping is tricky for what we do because it's time consuming in order to create what we create. I always say I'm an artist with a natural medium, so I take any building material and can turn it into something. So that takes time to figure out the shape of it. If it's rotted, I got to put it back together in order to create a template, that kind of stuff, you know. So, but we've done a few flips. I'm very old school in the way where I look at it, and a flip is designed not to dump a lot of time, money, and energy into it. But then I look at it and go, yeah, but we shouldn't do that because that's not okay for, you know, I won't sleep because I'm thinking about the corner that didn't match up or something like that. You know what I mean? So
the artist comes out in you.
Yeah.
Not the business.
To a fault, though, to be honest. To a fault. It really is. Yeah.
No, I get it.
So, but I consider myself retired, honestly, because I'll never stop doing this. I'll never, till I can't walk. This is what I'll do.
So when people are like, what would you do if you never had to make money?
Yeah.
You'd do like the same thing.
I'm doing it. Yeah. Yeah. And it just, I started at 21 and it's been literally just a gift. So.
And how many kids?
2 girls. 2 girls.
I was going to say, are any of them, how old are they? Are they old enough to like start
Oh, yeah.
training? And
yeah. Yep. They love it. And they love it. Yeah. We just finished getting the lower half of the first 2 fireplaces leveled, and they just love carrying bricks and stacking them, and, you know, here, take a sledgehammer and smash the wall.
It's in your house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They're just that's just household chores.
Yeah. You know, exactly. You know, you got to eat too, right?
That's right.
So earn your breakfast. Yeah. No, but they love it because it's you know, it's something that not a lot of kids, I think, get to experience in a level like that, you know, where it's, go ahead, throw the brick on the ground and smash it if you want.
See, with the beer and everything, I can see you as the lumberjack out in the backyard in West Virginia, like with the axe.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah.
But maybe with bricks.
Yeah. It's very, yes, it's true. I haven't, like, I can take a raw piece of something and mill it and turn it into, so yeah,
That's amazing.
I'm very, when it comes to making things, especially, you know, milled stuff that I need to make and whatnot, I'm very old school in that way. It's very take it from nothing and take the time to, you know, I'll build doors, like literally anything.
Have you thought about like filming this stuff, documenting it, creating an internship program, like passing the tool, the knowledge, the trade on to other?
I have, and I've had a couple. One of my buddies actually up in DC talked about. He was like, I'm going to reach out to like HGTV and but that's, I don't know. It's not me. I'm not a.
Well, that's exactly why you should be doing it.
I'm not in the spotlight kind of a person, you know, kind of like
those telephoto lenses on. Stand from afar.
Yeah, I would be okay.
Natural
you peek in a window and do it. That's fine with me. You know what I mean? Yeah, I have. It's and that's another 5-year thing where I'm kind of leaning towards. It's a tricky thing because I've looked into. You know, talking to like jails or somebody that's looking for a second chance or a second opportunity to be able to say, like, you know, or kids that, you know, have had, you know, an underprivileged upbringing, to say, okay, let me teach you a skill that you can't take away. And I think that's the other side to it, that barring cutting my fingers off, I can do this. You can't stop me from doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a skill that if you know how to. The guy I learned from handed me a hammer and said, learn how to use this. While everybody around me is building walls with guns and stuff. I'm like, bloodied fingers and, you know, I'm a mess. But that taught me the proper way to do things, you know. So I have looked into it. It's something that, you know, I have such a full plate. It's like.
Sure. But if you could incorporate it now, start laying the groundwork, so to speak, of like. You know, the foundation, start filming, some behind the scenes.
We've kind of reached out to some trade schools as well to kind of get in touch with somebody who, you know, has interest in the grand scheme of it. I'm very adamant that I call myself a general contractor, and a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a GC. I'm like, no, you're more of a project manager.
Yeah.
You know, an actual general contractor can do all of these things. You know, I don't need to hire somebody for speed. I hire somebody to help me, but I don't need to. I could do it myself if I wanted. So, but yeah, I have kind of looked into that
I think that'd
realm.
be cool.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable realm for me. This is an uncomfortable
I'm sure. I
realm
was
for
gonna
me.
say
You
this is
know,
probably making you
it's
feel
not.
awkward.
Yeah. It's very. It's funny because like when the wife's out of town, it's like pull the blinds, turn the lights out. Like I'm in a cave. I'm cool with it. You know. So
Yeah.
it's a different.
I'm sure she'll be proud of you for showing up then.
Yeah,
and
she
being-
was. She was. She's like, you're way out of your comfort. And I was like, yes, I am.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be great. I think, like you said, and you know, that it is a skill, it is a dying art.
Yeah.
And if nobody is taking the time to teach it, then it's just going to keep, you know.
And that's what happened with me.
Going
Somebody
into
took the time to
extinction.
do that, you
Yeah.
know. And that's it's I last time I saw him right before he actually passed away, just about 5 years ago now. Last time I saw him, I shook his hand and teared up and was like, I can't thank you for what you taught me because literally, A, I don't have to worry about calling somebody if there's something wrong at my house. B, nothing. I'm not afraid. I had a 39-page inspection report when we bought our house, and none of it was like, okay, that's normal to me, you know? So, and the way he taught, it just was it was a blessing. Just kind of, here it is, and I didn't know where it was going, and it turned into something, so.
Well, if you ever want like a highlight reel, you want me to show up, and especially if you're going to do something like underground bunkerish, just let me know. I'll come.
I've actually done a few gun safes, you know, that are
Okay.
very bunkerish. I mean, I'm talking rebarred concrete walls with 10 gauge lath and stuff. I mean, you know, 350-pound bank vault doors. I mean, yeah, it's been close to that.
I was
honestly.
gonna say that next one, I'll bring
Yeah,
my team.
yeah,
We'll show up
very
and
similar.
start a.
Yeah, yeah, that was a lot of work, but it worked out. But yeah, I've kind of done one-ish.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you do on your free time, like when you're not building
Work
stuff?
on our house. Yeah, I don't ever.
That's it.
That's it.
You're either sitting in the dark or you're like
Pretty much
building
sitting
something.
in the dark with some probably sports game on or something. I'm a tinkerer.
Like to tinker with everything.
Just everything. But again, my poor wife. There's just parts and pieces everywhere. You know.
Has she like confined it into a room? Like the husband's like
That's
no,
why she
it's
can't.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why it's
It's a whole house.
so. But
She wants to buy the second house. That way she can say, you don't
Yeah.
tinker in this one. This one's good.
yes, that's exactly what it is. She's like, that's what it is. We're actually doing a shed, so I can kind of put stuff aside for her. But I'm a tinkerer, so I'll put a game on or something and just take apart something. I'm very mechanical that way. I can take it apart, and as long as I see how it came apart, I can put it back together.
Oh, good. So then you'd be the perfect guy to like get the Legos kit with and say, I hated that when people would give my kids the Lego kit and
Yeah.
they're like, hey, Mom, can you help me put this together? I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah,
I can't comprehend where all these pieces go.
yeah. It's a very well. Actually, yesterday I have a client who's paraplegic, and they have she uses them for a gym where you sit on it and it kind of, you pump an arm and it kind of raises you up to stretch your hips out. Well, she bought one, but there was no manual on how to put it together.
Perfect.
So she called me and was like, hey, can you
Got a
help?
Lego kit without the actual
And that's
instructions.
exactly what it was. Yeah. So was
Did
able
you
to put it
tinker
together.
for a while and then
that's
you
what it
figured
is.
it
Kind of
out?
play with it. This goes like this. This should
You're
fit
like
like
trying
that.
this out. Let's
Yeah.
see if this works.
Yeah, I tried it out first. I was nervous about that. yeah.
Okay, good.
But it was, but something like that. It's very, I guess you can call that my free time, where I just I'm never not doing something. I can't sit still.
I love that. All right, last question. If you could give one message to the world right now, what would that message be?
Find what you love and don't stop doing it. I think that's another dying thing is, and it takes time. That's the other part. For the first 5 years, maybe even 10 years of being in business, I ate ramen noodles because that's all I could afford. And, that wasn't glamorous in any way, but it built me to where I am now, and I can eat steak, you know what I mean? So, and try everything. I didn't know that I would ever be in this industry. I went to a bowling night and fell into a construction company, and now it's a lifestyle for me, and that was never what I would expect it to happen. So, but sticking to it is probably through the thick and thin, kind of like building a house, build your foundation, put your walls up, and make sure your walls are secure, because the wind's going to come. That's part of, doing it by yourself. It's going to get difficult, but also, just bearing down and gritting your teeth sometimes.
I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show and
Of
thinking
course.
lots of nuggets of wisdom with us.
Yeah, thank you.